What's going on, everyone? So, very excited for this upcoming NBA season, as I'm sure most of you are. We're getting closer and closer to just training camp, right? We're a month and some change. We're a little hair over a month away from training camp. We'll see what ends up happening with the Lakers. Do they end up pulling a trade? Do things end up ramping up as we move closer to training camp? I can see, and that doesn't necessarily mean that a trade does get done, but I can see rumors kind of starting to pick up. Things have kind of quieted, things have kind of died down on the trade front in the trade market, but we know the Lakers are interested. The Lakers are looking and kind of keeping their ear to the ground. But nothing's really there. All the asking prices are insanely high. I do think once you get closer to training camp, once we get about a week, 2 weeks away, I do think you're going to see teams kind of start touching base again. I think you'll start hearing the rumor mill kind of pick up a little bit more, and that's a good sign, right? It means one, we're even if trade doesn't happen, which I think the consensus is that a trade needs to happen, but even if a trade doesn't happen, it's just means we're that much closer to training camp. But I wanted to, while I'm talking, just kind of general, going over some stuff. Of course, here at Thoughts and Opinions, the Lakers posted several images of players just kind of getting their work in, and you love to see it, right? Obviously, LeBron James and Anthony Davis, they were with Team USA, and they're out there cooking and working, and they were winning gold medals and MVPs, which is great to see. It's what you want to see, and again, obviously, they could both use some real help. But it's great to see other players on the Lakers in particular starting to work out, and you're starting to see the Lakers just social media team starting to share various photos. So again, I'll share some of these photos as I kind of go through the conversation to be had. But again, I want to see LeBron James and Anthony Davis get some reasonable help. I do, however, have talked and firmly believe that the Lakers will be fine if a trade doesn't happen. Unless you're ESPN, which still drives me crazy. I did a whole rant on that. Go check that video out when you get some time after this video, of course. But look, I understand the concerns. There are a lot of things to be concerned about, right? The consistent third star, right? Not even necessarily star, but just consistent third player. D'Angelo Russell in the regular season has been excellent for the Lakers, but once you get to the playoffs, he can really disappear. Austin Reeves was incredibly inconsistent last year. I mean, the Lakers as a whole were very inconsistent last year, and it was a persistent problem we saw all year, right? You saw the early season where, it was like the first halves, Lakers were awful. Second halves, boom, Lakers are a whole new team. And then eventually you saw that flip a little bit. And it was like the first halves, the Lakers really good. Second halves, they really had their struggles. And then you got to the playoffs, ran into Denver, and all of the issues you saw during the regular season all just came to a head in the postseason. And it's like, wonder why? Because they were never addressed. They were never really worked out. And, that's why, so many people have concerns or, trying to paint this narrative that JJ Redick, which, again, Lakers ended up posting a photo of JJ Redick, as I'm sure you're seeing on screen. But, so many people are like, oh, JJ Redick doesn't have this experience. He doesn't have this. He doesn't have that. But they're also not looking at the other side of that coin, right? One, the bar is incredibly low, right? But no matter how you feel about JJ, let's say you do think JJ is going to have his question marks, which I get the reservations with JJ Redick, right? I do get the concern because he doesn't have coaching experience. But I also look at that in a lot of ways as a positive because he doesn't have any preconceived biases, right? He doesn't have any, systematic beliefs when it comes to the game of basketball, right? He's a very analytical, X's and O's, by the numbers type of guy. He was like that as a player. He's like that as an analyst. He was like that on his podcast. So why wouldn't he be like that as a head coach? Which means he's not going to look at it from a biased standpoint, right? One of the things that I talked about heavily with Darvin Ham is that, like, when he was able to stay in his comfort zone, I put it as like being in a box, right? As long as he was able to stay in his box, he at times looked great and even outcoached some incredible coaches. But as soon as somebody got him out of his comfort zone, as soon as he had to get out of that box, he just fell apart and had no clue what to do. The Denver series, right? Both of them, really. But even just this most recent one, right? Like, you saw the same disaster happen game after game after game after game. If the game's finished at halftime, the Lakers sweep Denver. But we ended up losing all those games because of second halves. Which, okay, if it happens once, fine, right? It happens to every team. But when it happens literally 4 times, that's coaching. That's lack of adjustments. That's lack of changes. That's not understanding that, like, hey, we're torching them right now. They're going to go in the locker room and make adjustments, so we need to be prepared. And that was one of the big things. JJ Redick is manic when it comes to preparation and doing his homework and all that stuff. Darvin Ham, one of his biggest flaws and concerns and questions were his lack of preparation. There's even the talks. Patrick Beverley said, hey, Darvin Ham even said that, he apologized for not having enough practices and stuff, right? It's lack of preparation. JJ's not going to have that problem. There's a lot of things about JJ that is the opposite of Darvin Ham in a positive way. And I do think JJ is going to be a very good coach. Is he going to have his moments? Is he going to have his hiccups and stuff like that this year? Probably. It's his first season, right? But you also look at the coaching staff. Even if you think JJ Redick is, in the same area as Darvin Ham, which I don't think so. But let's say you do. Let's say you're not sold on JJ Redick. There is zero doubt at all that you can look at JJ Redick's coaching staff front to back and not go, that is way better than Darvin Ham's. Like, remove JJ Redick from the conversation. You can even keep Darvin Ham in the conversation if you want. JJ Redick's coaching staff is better than Darvin Ham and his coaching staff. You have 2 assistant coaches that were head coaches that were both arguably better. I think that they were better than Darvin Ham because I just don't think Darvin Ham was a good head coach at all. And Scott Brooks and Nate McMillan that had success and I think are going to be able to kind of help navigate and right this ship. I do think that, Max Christie, which I showed the image that the Lakers posted briefly, and a lot of these other guys, right? Christian Wood, I think you're going to get better utilization from guys, right? You're going to get better usage from guys, right? One of the things that we talked about heavily all season was like lack of utilization for Rui Hachimura, Spencer Dinwiddie, Christian Wood, right? Not really using Max Christie, overusing guys like Taurean Prince and all that stuff, right? When the numbers and the win-losses told you otherwise. JJ Redick, I don't believe will make those mistakes. Because again, he's a very analytical guy. And, analytics aren't everything, but analytics are important. And analytics matter because it gives you a clear idea of the situation. Are there variables at times that data isn't going to show? Sure, right? But it's not supposed to be, not all aspects of it are supposed to be gospel, right? It's supposed to be, another tool that you use to see what you're doing right and what you're doing wrong and areas that need to be improved on and whatnot, right? And I just think you're going to get just better understanding than you got last year. And, something else that I made a video on earlier today was the hiring of a new health director, right? Health and safety director. And I love that because that was a big problem we had last year. It's also a problem we've had basically since the bubble. And so I'm hopeful that guys are healthier, right? So many people are willing to just write off the Lakers. One, the Lakers won 47 games last year, not 37. And that was with all the inconsistencies. That was with, at times, our hands tied behind our back because of Darvin Ham. That was with bad coaching. That was with, injuries. That was with, just inconsistencies from individual players. Again, Austin Reeves, guys like that, right? Like, lack of utilization from players, right? Like, you go down the list and you look at all the just issues that the Lakers had and had to overcome, and they still finished with 47 wins. And if it wasn't for Darvin Ham, like, almost purposely sabotaging the Lakers after the in-season tournament, they probably are top 4 seed, right? They lost 10 out of 13 games after the in-season tournament. If they win half of those games, they're the 4 seed, right? Like, so to me, it's just like you stack all those things up, and it's just like, okay, so this year you should have better utilization, better health, better coaching, better chemistry, all these things. And what I also think is funny is that, like, chemistry no longer matters when we're talking about the Lakers, right? Like, teams like Denver and Clippers and all these other teams get praised for sticking together and keeping the roster and, and bringing in all. But when it's the Lakers that do it, and again, they won 47 games. They were in the Western Conference the year prior. The consensus was if the Lakers beat Denver, they're in the NBA Finals. I mean, even Laker haters were like, man, if they beat Denver, they could win the NBA championship, right? Like, people were talking about how they should be the favorites if they beat Denver. So how do we go from that to Lakers are trash? And yes, there are some teams that got better. There are some teams that got worse. But no one got that much better. And a lot of the teams that got quote unquote better, I think you can argue that a healthy Jared Vanderbilt and Gabe Vincent and better coaching, better chemistry, better, play calling, better, all those things are going to be more impactful than, Klay Thompson going to Dallas or DeMar DeRozan going to, the Kings or whatever, right? Like, again, I think that there's some things you can look at and go, teams may have gotten worse, right? Like, so there was no moves that were like these grandiose moves where it's like, oh man, we got another KD to the Warriors situation or anything. It's just, I think some stuff is overblown. There are definitely concerns. Like, I'm not trying to, gloss over that. There are issues, right? Like, again, I understand people's reservations on JJ Redick. I understand, the overall talent level, but this time last year, I mean, everybody, again, Laker haters, the media, Laker fans, like, all of us were incredibly excited, and we're talking about the depth of this team and the overall talent and how this team can compete with anybody, and you have defense and you have offense, you have all this stuff, and the Lakers, again, won 47 games with all of their issues, and now people are like, Lakers are trash. They're not even a play-in team. So, again, how do we get to that point when everybody's back? Then again, I do believe that the Lakers need a trade if they want to be just a bona fide contender, right? They want to be a top 3 to 5 team, then yes, I do think that they need really probably 2 trades, depending on what the trade is, right? But to think that they don't have a chance, like, of course they do. Like, no one would be shocked if the Lakers won the championship. But, I do, again, I understand the concerns and reservations. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. Pass question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. Also, what do you think of the images? And, like Jared Vanderbilt, Max Christie, Christian Wood, all these guys getting work in and working hard. I'm excited for it. I'm glad to see guys putting in the off-season work and starting to ramp up and getting ready for training camp. It's very exciting. But again, however you feel, whatever your thoughts are, love to hear it. Let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. So me enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.